Welcome to the Business After Hours, where the ties loosen, the suit relax, and we talk business without the boardroom. Grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's dive into the world of business after hours.
All right, welcome back to the Business After Hours podcast. Here with Jared and our two guests, Sheridan and Matt. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Good.
Great. Great. Thanks for having us.
Good.
Absolutely.
Well, why don't we go ahead and Matt, Sheridan, tell us a little bit about your guys' self.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. So, as you can probably tell by the names, Sheridan is the younger of the two brothers and has the better hair. We've been talking about this concept with Operation Hired for years. Sheridan has a bunch of years in the recruiting industry. I've been in the Army for, gobs of years and a bunch of years. And we keep talking, about what is the problem with veterans or military service members leaving the service? Why aren't they being hired into better roles? And then why aren't corporations and companies understanding the soft skills and the skills that veterans bring to their company to build culture and help their companies grow? And so this is one of those situations where we finally got tired of talking about it, and we just decided to dive into it and create Operation Hire. So I'll kind of kick it over to Sheridan.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Yeah, so I'm not a veteran, but I have 25 years of recruiting experience here in Silicon Valley, where I'm currently located. And over the years, I've heard Matt and our other brother talk about people that they've worked with in the military and struggled to transition to corporate world. And I've hired a few veterans over the years in various companies that I've worked at, and I've always thought, the corporate world really isn't that difficult, and it's not that hard. It's just teaching people this new world. And so Matt and I came together and we decided to combine forces. Matt's extensive military experience, and he really understands that world. And then I come in with the corporate side of the house and can explain that world. And so that's how we started Operation Hired.
That's awesome. I worked for USAA for a while on their mortgage side of their division, and they always did veteran hiring classes and whatnot, and would bring them in. And part of the things that I got to do was help train them up and whatnot. And they do bring a very unique skill set that is extremely valuable to the business world. And so Sheridan, just in general, because we obviously see the way that the economy is today, take away the veteran status of people, it's just hard in general to get a job these days. And then you add the veteran tag on top of it. Is it truly like a knock to be a veteran and try to get hired into the corporate world? Or is it just today it's just generally hard to get a job?
I think it's generally hard to get a job. A lot of companies are not hiring, or they're hiring very little. So there's a lot of competition for those roles. And I don't think it's a knock at all to be a veteran. One of the challenges that we're trying to overcome, and we have a product that will help with that, is our resume generator tool. Funny story, a few years ago, Matt said he was looking for a new gig, and he sent me his resume. And I immediately called him and I said, I don't understand what I'm reading here. And so we got on the phone and I said, okay, this job, tell me what you did. And he would walk me through it. I said, okay, it sounds like you did this. And we completely rewrote his resume to somebody like me that's not a veteran can understand what he did on a day in, day out basis and how that applied to the job he was looking for. And so we have our resume generator tool that will now do that for veterans. So I think that will help. I think when you ask, is it a knock? I don't think it's a knock to be a veteran. I think it's hard to explain how your experience in the military translates to the position that you're applying for.
That's a good point.
There's a communication gap, I think, on both ends of that spectrum.
Yeah, I know, like Jared had mentioned a couple times in the past that getting out of the military, and Matt can probably attest to this, is that they make it seem like they're going to hire you just because you're a veteran. So you come out of the military with an expectation that because you're a veteran, you're going to get hired, obviously. And Jared, maybe you can speak more to that about how that came out.
Absolutely. So, like TAPS. So the Army kind of went to this TAPS program. I don't know if you're familiar with it, Matt, when you got out or not. And I felt like when we were in the TAPS, it was like, oh, everybody wants to hire veterans. You could just put your application in. It just made it seem so easy But when I got out, I struggled for at least, I don't know, 6 months to a year to finally find a job. After all the applications I put in.
Yeah, it is definitely not as easy as it's made out to be. Um, and the TAPS program is a tough program. It's definitely a class you have to sit in that nobody really wants to sit in, and it's a group of other people, and you don't really get any personalized kind of instruction through that process. And when you come back, when you're a guardsman or reservist, you come back from a deployment, they give you this class when you really want to be at home with your family or eating a hamburger for the first time or something like that. So it's really not put in the right position. And I give Sheridan credit for being politically correct, because when he and I sat down with my resume, which I had over 20 years in, I thought I had a great resume. I took special time to actually sit there and take all of my little job descriptions and things and make sure that I put in the budgets that I was in charge of, and the recruiting, all the things. And I was really proud of this resume, and I put it in front of a recruiter with over 20 years at the time of experience. And he looked at me and he says, "Okay, we have to get on a Zoom." Okay, we got on a Zoom, we shared it, and he looks at me, and goes, "What the fuck are you trying to say?" I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, "I don't understand a thing you're trying to say, and I've been doing this for years." And I thought I had done a great job of portraying, of changing my speak, right, into making that switch. And it was not. As soon as we went through it sentence by sentence, line by line, 2 hours later, we had finally come out with a resume that I had no idea was in my resume. And so that's why we have this AI, artificial intelligence resume generator, that takes that information and kicks you out 3 different kinds of resumes, 3 different types of resumes, and it's totally free. You just come to the website, you use it, and it emails you your resumes. You can put them on LinkedIn, you can put them on Indeed, you can send them out to recruiters. They're yours. You have them. It's all you. But yeah, it is definitely not easy to get the job from the veteran's perspective. It's tough to try to portray that this 25-year-old kid has been in charge of 15 people, has 3 direct reports, and is in charge of 15 people. It's really, that doesn't happen very often as a 25-year-old come in the world. So
it doesn't happen in the corporate world too often.
Right. But as a squad leader, you've got 5, 6, 7 years in, and you're in charge of these people, and not just in charge of these people. That's the other thing, is you're not in charge of KPIs with these people. You're not in charge of performance measures. You're in charge of making sure their medical is done, that they're physically fit, that their car insurance is paid, everything. You're insured of you have these 15 people that you have insured the well-being of, not just that they're good at their job. And it's tough for hiring managers to really take that and portray that into the position, to say, if we put this person in charge of a section of just 3 direct reports with 10 people, that person will go and start asking, how are they doing at home? What is causing you to come in late? What are some of the issues that you're seeing that won't help your job and that won't help this company really go forward? That's one of the things I talk to companies about all the time is, look, if you want somebody to write the best code, you want the best actuator, you want the best person to figure out, to have the direct knowledge on something, then you need to go to like Harvard, MIT, go to that Stanford, some of those schools where you get that specific training. But if you're looking for somebody to help your business grow, to start thinking outside the box, to start coloring outside the lines on way to improve the processes and the procedures, man, a veteran and a military spouse, we do that every 2 to 3 years. And so that's one of our big kind of discussions we have with companies is, hey, look, these are the soft skills you're getting that aren't going to show up on a resume.
No.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask real quick, Matt, do you have like an MOS that skill was transferable, to the civilian side, or was your MOS like specific to the military?
Yeah. I was an infantryman.
Okay.
Not very transferable. I tell you, I have 33 years in. I started off as in the enlisted. I worked on helicopters. I was a drill sergeant for years. got a direct commission, became a lieutenant in the infantry, and transferred to a civil affairs job. So I've had four different jobs, officer, enlisted, whole deal. And that I thought would be a great freaking resume, and turns out I don't know how to write one. I had to go find help.
I've been doing this for a long time. I still will write my own resume and have my other recruiter buddies review it for me. But Jared, I did want to expound on one point you made earlier about, veterans thinking that they're going to get a job because they're a veteran. I will say every company that I've worked at and companies that I know, they want to hire veterans. A lot of companies don't know how. And then or some companies don't have the budget to invest into learning the how. And that's where I feel like Operation Hired and we can come in. But veterans also have to have the skills for the positions that they're applying for. So you're right. They're not just going to hire you because you're a veteran, but they will hire you if you have the skills for the position that they're trying to hire. So there is a want out there. It's bridging that gap.
And I guess that's probably the gap that between the military and the private sector that is the gap, because from a civilian standpoint, you're right, Sheridan, that I do see a lot of efforts into hiring veterans. And then you see on the military side where they have these classes to prepare you, but there's obviously a gap of how to write that resume to fit for an infantryman into the business world. And I feel like that's something that obviously we would expect the military to try to do, but they're not going to. And that's where folks like you guys come in and try to be that gap.
Yeah. I mean, Jared, I'll ask you, how long was your basic training?
So I was a combat engineer. So mine was obviously OSET. I believe it was 14 weeks total.
14 weeks to train you how to be a good soldier. And then how long was TAPS?
TAPS was 2 weeks, mandatory 2 weeks. Obviously they said you could take it throughout, but that was kind of a little. So I got medically, discharged. So mine wasn't even planned, and I only had that 2 weeks of TAPS real quick. And then, then I had to wait to see if I was going to get, discharged or not. And then as soon as they discharged it, because I had so much leave saved up, I had pretty much out processed as soon as I got that and left. And so, and then of course the struggles of that last paycheck being held and the struggle of waiting for your VA to kick in, so there was definitely some struggle there. And then on top of that, there are a lot of organizations out there that are, that help veterans and to write your resume and stuff. But what I found was, unfortunately, the one that I decided to go with first, I guess, had a cookie cutter resume, and so it was, as soon as I gave it to somebody later on, they were like, "Oh, I know exactly where you got this resume." And I was like, "How the hell did you know that?" And they're like, "Yeah, they use the same across the board." So I wasn't even able. I thought I had a great resume based off of using that organization, and that wasn't the case either.
Yeah, but my point was 14 weeks to be a good soldier, 2 weeks to be a civilian. I mean, absolutely. They do the job of training you how to be a soldier. They do not do a good job on how to train you to be a civilian. And that's kind of where we like to come in is to talk to you about when you're getting ready to go. During that 2 weeks, hey, I'm gonna come out. Hey, great, hit that resume generator. We'll get a copy of your resume too, and we'll start looking for you, but even before you leave. And we'll start trying to find you something even before you leave, so that you have people to talk to and to call, not us necessarily, but about jobs and about opportunities as soon as you're getting out. Let a recruiter come and fight for you to get that position. But we need that resume. But yeah, let us start fighting for you. And then we go to companies. That's all our job is. Not all our job is, but that's a large portion of our job is talking to companies about, hey, look, we've got veterans and military spouses is another one that we have that travel every 2 to 3 years to different bases all over the country and have MBAs and doctorate degrees and project management PMP degrees, but they can't have a brick and mortar job because they keep moving every 2 to 3 years with their spouse. And so, but they've got all these great certifications and abilities that are out there. They're looking for remote jobs or things like that. So yeah, the military does a great job teaching us how to be soldiers. Terrible job teaching us how to be civilians.
So Matt and Sheridan, just So obviously we have Chat GPT and all these other AIs that come into play. Why would somebody want to reach out to y'all instead of just going to Chat GPT? Like what, obviously you offer more services than just resume writing. So what other services do y'all offer that is beneficial to the veteran or spouse?
Well, I think, the resume writing is a really good service because it fills in the blanks. Like you when you go in there, you just fill in the blanks, and the system will provide you with 3 different formatted resumes, and you can choose which one you're most comfortable with, and you can take those with you anywhere you go.
Okay.
And I can tell you, someone who's read resumes for 25 years, we really want to get as much information about you in a short amount of time, right? What did you accomplish? What did you do? What were you responsible for? What was the ROI on your work? Other services that we provide is we work with companies to tap into the power of a veteran. Like, not only, hey, here's why you want to hire a veteran, but here's veterans that are a fit for the role and the culture of your company. One thing we didn't talk about is a lot of different company cultures out there, right? There are some companies that have very defined career paths. You do one job for 3 years, then you get promoted to the next. And then 3 years after that, you get promoted to the next. A lot of other companies will just promote you based on performance. You could be a job and you're a veteran and you've got the discipline and the hard work and the determination to move in. 9 months later, you're getting promoted, right? Because you've proved yourself. So we work with veterans to determine what's the best company culture that works for you. And we work with companies to, when we work with companies to hire people, we present candidates that we've already pre-screened that we feel confident are going to be successful in that corporate culture and environment as well as the job.
And Jeff, I think your question about the AI is interesting because AI is one of these new things, right? Just in the last few years. But the one thing about AI is the more that you put into it, the more it learns. And so this resume generator is not for anybody. This resume generator is for veterans and military spouses, so that when you put in, I know there was a situation where we were beta testing the resume generator, and we put in an award. And I forget what the acronym was, but as it spit out, it took that acronym for the award and spit out like Kazakhstan or some sort of country in the middle of nowhere that it thought it was. But so that's why we've been doing this for about a year, is putting more information into that resume generator so that it understands some of the jargon, some of the technology, or some of the speak that military veterans have, and it focuses just on that speak and those acronyms to create and turn that into a resume. If you go to Chat GPT, if you go to some of the other AI sources, you're going to get a very wide range of things that you're going to get out of it, because a lot of people around the country, around the world, are using it. But this is specific for military veterans and military spouses. And so that's why it's a little bit better than you're going to see. And there's a lot of other companies that will have a resume generator, and I don't want to say that their data gets a little clunky, but the more that you go outside of the veteran sphere, the less it understands the veteran jargon and talk. And so that's why ours is a little bit different. It's a little bit more focused for veterans and military spouses.
Now, just real quick, what would a veteran or spouse need when they're starting the resume generator? Are they going to need their awards, or what should they expect to have when starting this?
Yeah, I would say get your awards, get your evaluations, get your awards and your job descriptions that come in your evaluations or where you're located. If you have them digitally, it's an easy cut and paste. You highlight, cut, paste, throw it in the resume generator. If it's paper, then you might have to type it in. But once you type those things in with all of the different acronyms and things that are part of it, that resume generator grabs it, holds it, and turns you out the same resume, but in 3 different formats. So you'll get a bulletized, a narrative, and another one to utilize however you want to use it.
Sheridan, you were going to say something?
Oh yeah, one of the things we can do with employers is I've been asked this question a million times. Sheridan, I need to hire somebody. I don't know how to do it. Well, we can do that. We can help you with that. We can help you write a job description, where to post it, how we can effectively go out and source candidates that maybe didn't apply for the role but might be a fit, to helping a company determine an interview team, who and what should be on the interview team, what questions they should be asking, to an interview strategy, to a debrief session, we can walk a company through step by step on how to hire, the best veteran or military spouse for a role.
And to back on what Sheridan said, that's one of the big things about us is that if a company just posts on Indeed, they're going to get whoever has time and their resume ready and looks good on their resume to send it in. They're going to get a very small applicant pool. Whereas when we utilize when we get a position to hire for, we'll utilize Indeed, LinkedIn. We go out and find the right person, the people that have the experiences, and then we reach out to them and say, we have this opportunity. Are you interested? Yes, no. Some say, yeah, no, I'm really like where I'm at. Or some will say, hey, I'm interested in a conversation. Let's talk. And that's where we do that active recruiting for companies.
So you guys are also a recruiting agency as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. No, that's good. No, I think hitting on the AI part of your resume writer directly for military is a very solid thing, because you're right. You plug anything into ChatGPT and you don't know what's coming out sometimes.
Yeah. It's only as part of the information that's been put in there. But our resume generator will give you 3 different copies of your resume, which ChatGPT may not.
So what has been like your guys' biggest pain point with getting this company off the ground, and that?
It's a good one. Sheridan and I talk about 3 times a day about all the different pain points we run into. I think when our biggest pain point is when we gave kind of our background as to what we've done and where we've come from. What you didn't hear about was building a business or sales. So that's where we are learning on the fly. Jump off the cliff and build the plane on the way down. That's us. So we're eager to figure out new and innovative ways to market ourselves while making the ROI work for our budget. We are constantly looking. Our marketing stream is split. We're a B2C where we want to find as many veterans as we can to utilize the resume generator, but we're also B2B because we want to find companies that we want to talk to about utilizing us for their. And within that B2B, we split because we're also corporate and government contracts. So we also write government contracts to work with DoD and the VA and other entities. We're a service disabled, better known small business. We're registered with the state of Indiana and the city of Indianapolis. We are also registered to work in half a dozen states right now, but we do work nationally in just about any state or territory we can work in. I guess that's our biggest pain point is reaching out to the companies and getting the companies to really say, I understand what you're doing. I want to do it. And yes, we have the budget. We're gonna start working with you.
Yeah, I mean, we're an Indiana-based business. I didn't know you had to register as a foreign entity in another state to be able to do business in that state, right? So little things like that we're learning as we go through.
What's been the biggest pushback from the companies that you guys contact?
You said at the beginning, Jeff, the economy. That's the biggest push. Yes, we want the culture. Yes, we want veterans. And I'll tell you, it's interesting to talk to companies too, because we're getting a lot of the patriotic reason to hire veterans. I want to hire a veteran. It's the right
Election
thing.
Season.
Yeah, all that good stuff. It's the right thing to do. And then when we start talking about soft skills, it's really where we talk to the hiring managers and HR professionals about, wow, now I see why we need to do it. And then that gets transferred over to the CFO or the finance section, and that's where it kind of fizzles. So that's kind of where it is. But these are things we're working through, and we've been here for over a year, and we're gonna keep chugging away at it.
Sheridan, how tough is it out there? I mean, you've obviously been in this business for 25 years, recruiting and whatnot, and I mean, we see like all the reports from the government that say how great it's going, the economy is, and how great the job reports are, and and then they modify it months later and downgrade it. But what how tough is it really out there from a non-partisan, non-bias in the fields?
Yeah, it's tough. I'm living here in Silicon Valley, so all the FANGs are here, and they're cutting back, and so we're seeing companies that are not in technology hiring. So we're seeing an uptick there. We're seeing an uptick in companies wanting employees to be back in the office, and a lot of people, got remote status and moved back home or moved to a small town somewhere, and coming back in the office is challenging. I see an uptick. I know a lot of recruiters, and I see a lot of activity. I'm seeing recruiters, and especially recruiting leadership, people announcing that they're getting jobs. And so that is a good sign. When companies are starting to hire recruiters again, that's a good sign. When they're starting to hire recruiter leaders, VPs and directors and whatnot of recruiting, that's a good sign. But it is tough, and it's tough to get noticed. It's tough to, get an interview, and it's tough to get a company to hire. When I just read an article yesterday, companies are interviewing 5 people that would be perfect for the job. How do they pick the one? Right. And so that's what's making it a little challenge. We just got to keep moving forward.
Are you guys getting the excuse that they're waiting till after the election?
No, we're waiting until next year because of budget.
Standard, yeah.
But yeah, I haven't heard anything about the election.
Because that's something that we get on our funding side of things, that people are waiting until the end of the election. I didn't understand what the thought process behind it is, because no matter who's elected, whether it's Trump, Kamala, or Daffy Duck, at the end of the day, business still has to move forward. I mean, I change our plan just because who's president.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't have any data to give you a solid answer.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if you guys were getting the same excuse. Oh, we're going to wait till after the election to hire, because that's
honestly, I haven't heard that.
Popular excuse. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, no matter what, these companies have to build products and release products.
Right. That's why even like on our funding side, it's like I don't get why waiting after the election would care, because like you still got to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot changes. You're right. Depending on who gets in it. Anyway.
You're right. Yeah. So what's been some of you guys' biggest successes that you've had?
Jeez.
Well, I think, from my perspective, we are getting a lot of attention, and we're getting companies that say, hey, we really believe in what you're doing, and we really want to support what you're doing. And we see a value there. And so we're getting that. And I think that's a great thing. I think, part of what Matt said earlier, as we're learning as business owners, is getting the word out that we're here, right? And what we can do. And it's happening. And the feedback has been pretty good. There's been a lot of really good responses from people and from companies. And, we've taken a lot of meetings from companies that say, hey, I really can't utilize your service right now, but I just want to meet you guys and tell you that, we support you, and we're happy that you're doing what you're doing. So I think that's been a big win so far.
Absolutely. Have you guys been able to get any resumes generated, and how's that process been as far as getting out all the kinks and everything?
So I need to put in a plug for another company. We're the company that actually created the AI is called Forces Horizon. And they are another veteran-owned company that we are just. It was one of those things. It was a natural partnership as soon as we met him. Ben is from England. He's a UK vet, and he came up with the AI. We got connected with him, and we've been working with him ever since. Fantastic company. It's been good. The best thing about them is they are a new company as well. And so we're kind of learning the ropes together at the same time, and we both support each other fantastically. I got to tell you guys, one of the best things I did was I went to a conference for veteran business owners, and I walked in the first night. I had a stack of business cards, and I handed out all my business cards the first night of this conference. I had no more. I was handing out capability statements with my name on the bottom, just to get stuff out there, right? And people were putting their arm around me and say, "Hey, man, you are doing some good stuff. This is a great community to be in. We will help you. We will support you." And I got to tell you, man, they have actually been fantastic. We're heading to another conference here in San Diego in November. We are. It's just a great community to talk to. They're hugely supportive. I can't use you guys right now. We're not hiring, but I know 3 other guys I'm gonna put you in contact with. And sure enough, it just keeps rolling that way. And so Getting our name out there has been really good. The community's been fantastic, and everything has just been pointing in the right direction.
Oh, that's awesome. I like it. I like it. Well, Matt and Sheridan, we definitely appreciate you coming on. Well, if you guys wouldn't mind just kind of sharing, more about your company a little bit, just to further advertise it. And that way, if there's anything that you want to put on the table about your company, that way we can get full exposure for you guys. And then obviously we're going to display everything in the bottom down below of all the links and whatnot so that they can get in touch with you guys.
Yeah, I'll take the first, Jared. I'll let you kind of finish out. But I think first and foremost, we're looking, like Sheridan said, get the name out. We help other companies. We are not really competing. And so if there's a need for culture, if there's a need for a veteran, if you're just looking for a good hire, we would love the opportunity to compete. Our compensation is not something where you have to pay up front. It's pay upon the hire. If we do find you the right person, we do find you the great fit, and you do want to go with our person, then that's the compensation. So it's not you're not worried about, are you going to get what you pay for? You're gonna decide if you get what you pay for or not, and it's up to you. And so we're that confident that we could find the right people, the right veteran or military spouse to bring to your company and fill that position, and not just that position, but to help build your company up. And on the government contracting side, if you're a big government contractor and you have large contracts, we love to come on as subcontractors as well, because all we want to do is when you win the contract and you need to hire people, that's where we come in. And we would just like that little, work with you on that little piece to help you over the hump when you do win. And so that's kind of our goal right now. The resume generator, we have some great marketing ideas and great plans out there. We have we've learned how to use TikTok and Instagram and all those places for marketing, because I don't know about you guys, but when I talk to one of our marketing gurus who's a 21-year-old, we told him about our Facebook page, and he's like, I don't even use Facebook. Why are you on Facebook? I don't even know what you're talking about. And it blew my mind. It just blew my mind that a 21-year-old kid doesn't use Facebook. And he told us about how to get people on Instagram and TikTok. And so, we figured out that and we've been using that to generate some of our resumes. But that's kind of the direction we're going, and we appreciate all the help and everything else. So, Sheridan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say on the recruiting front, to companies, we can do all the recruiting for you. So we'll take a job description, we will go out, find people, we will screen them, we will send you candidates that meet your qualifications and are interested in the position you're trying to hire. So we will do all the legwork for you, and we have various recruiting technology and tools to be able to do that. On the resume generator side, I always tell candidates looking for a job, you need to have as many advocates as you possibly can, and we are one of them. You can put your information into the resume generator. We'll give you 3 different copies of your resume, and you can take those anywhere you want. You can take them to other recruiting firms. You can use those to apply to any job you want. And your information comes in our database now. And so you never know in the future if it's 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, we may have a job that matches your skill set, and you might get a call from us in the future to say, hey, are you interested in this opportunity? It's a win-win for everybody, and you could take those resumes with you when you go.
Awesome. Just remember, we got Veterans Day coming up here in a couple weeks. So if you guys know any veterans looking to get hired, exiting the military in any sort of manner, give operationhired.com a call so that they can help you out. Jared, you got anything?
No, thanks again for being on the episode, Sheridan, Matt. It was a great conversation, and I think it will provide some great info for those veterans, active duty getting out, and spouses as well. So thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you very much for having us on. Like I was saying earlier before we started recording, I watched a couple of your episodes, and I love what you guys do. So thanks a lot for what you guys do.
Gentlemen, thank you both for coming on, and hopefully we'll have you on here again soon.
Love to.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome to the Business After Hours, where the ties loosen, the suit relax, and we talk business without the boardroom. Grab your favorite drink, kick back, and let's dive into the world of business after hours.